Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave here, and today we're going to be having a chat over Zoom with success coach Luke MindPower. Now, I just pre-recorded an interview with Luke on his podcast, also called Luke MindPower, just recently. So keep a lookout for that. That should hopefully be out very soon. But today, I thought it was time to have Luke on my show to chat about all areas of his career. Like he has a book coming out. He just announced his new project, his new company called MindPower Corp. And I also want to find out how he's gotten through such hard times like addiction to drug and alcohol, and also battling with suicidal thoughts to get to where he is today, where he's helping others and paying it forward. So much to cover today, so let's get into it now. Luke, welcome to Rave It Up. How are you going today?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on my show today. For those who don't know, I was on Luke's podcast for an interview just recently, over the last month or two, I would think, and it's all pre-recorded, so, and you're busy, so it's probably not going to come out till next year, but we're creating the hype now for everyone to go check it out when it does come out. But it's great to finally have you on to chat about your life and your career instead of me.
Hey, absolutely. You know, our podcast interview that we did, I mean, on my platform was really powerful. So we're definitely going to have a lot of hype.
You had some good questions. So I'm kind of like, you set the bar high. I'm like, okay, got to make sure I've really done my research, and I got some good ones coming at you now.
Oh, all right. I'm ready.
Well, I got to say, like, you know, I did my research on you, and the beginning of your career and your whole journey to where you are now is actually very relatable to a lot of people. For the first 33 years of your life, you believed that you weren't good enough, and I think that's something we can all relate to, and you're confused why you were alive and, you know, what your purpose in life was. So unfortunately, you turned to drugs and alcohol. I was in financial debt for over 10 years, and you were even having challenges with suicidal thoughts. So I'd love to ask you, how did you get through that? And, you know, how did you put down the alcohol, the drugs, and get healthy again? Because I know that, and even the whole battle with suicidal thoughts, a lot of our listeners, unfortunately, do battle with that. So, you know, please help them with your story.
Yeah, so first I'll just start with, thanks for the question. It's a powerful question. And, you know, when you say that it's relatable, or it's something that a lot of people are being challenged with in today's society is, you know, we get kind of directed or guided with the best intentions from our parents or you know, just people around. Everybody is in this game of life to thrive and to be happy and to want to live with peace and fulfillment, you know. And it's like we're all trying to find that. We're all trying to find that, you know. And I had to realize a couple of years ago that I had to stop trying to find that, because I had it all along. It was within me, but I was searching outside. I was searching through materialistic things, or, you know, trying to make myself feel better about who I was or who I am by using drugs, by using alcohol, by trying to have an attractive girlfriend, you know, because we're always wanting to put out to the world that we want to have that respect. We want to have that accreditation. We want to have that gratification from your family, your friends, the people you love, people at work. You want them to look at you and say, oh, wow, look at his girlfriend, or look at the nice car that he drives, or look at the job that he has, or the money that he's making, right? So, and we want to feel that. We want to feel valued. We want to feel like we're good enough, you know? So it's kind of that when you get lost in that, it's a real destructive, unconscious behavior that a lot of us are in. And so for me, it comes down to passion, purpose, and priority. So the 3 Ps. And when you have that, your life will transform. But it's trying to have that, which is the challenge. And so many of us are living in unconscious, destructive, habitual behaviors that are stopping us from actually living our purpose, our passion, and having that foundation, which then drives your priority. because when you live in purpose and passion, then you make sure that that's a priority for you in order for you to really thrive in your life. Otherwise, it's not a priority. What's a priority is external validation, is feeling good about yourself, and is trying to show off your life to others, when it's not about that. It's just about you being in that peaceful state, and when you're at peace, you're happy, you're joyful, you project positive energy, and people can feel that, so for many years, I think it really came down to, my own, even though it was the last couple of years that I it seems like I transformed my life. I was fighting from a young age to break through, but it was the environment that I was brought up in. It was the people around me. It's not their fault. I'm not here blaming anybody. I used to blame my parents. I used to be very resentful of why my parents moved to Newcastle, which is 2 hours away from Sydney. When I was 21 years old, they finally finished the house that they built and they moved from Sydney. And for a long time, in my 20s, I couldn't understand it. And I was like, what kind of parents would leave their youngest child and move to another, even though I've got 3 older sisters? Why would they do that to me? Everybody, all of my other friends, and there I was comparing my life to others. So I was comparing my friends and the fact that they got to live with their parents until in their late 20s, have that support, have that financial support, be able to, have security so they can get their own investment properties, and somehow other people around me, their life seemed to be aligning more than mine. And so there I was comparing myself, thinking that I'm worse off than others, and I was frustrated at my parents because they moved. And I didn't want to move to Newcastle because I was like, man, I grew up in Sydney. I love my friends. My sisters are here. This is my crew. And I'm not moving to Newcastle. It's dead there. It's too quiet. It's not my style, right? But I had to come to a realization that, you have to be aware of your own story that you tell yourself. And if you're going to live in that kind of a resentful form of belief, you're never going to move forward in your life. You're never going to grow. You're never going to be the best version of yourself, because you're always going to find an excuse. You're always going to find a story that is going to tell you why your life is the way it is and you can't be great. So I had to, raise my awareness, and through my life learn that, bro, you got to stand up for yourself if you want to reach those peak states of joy, peace, abundance, success, prosperity. You got to really stand up for yourself. And so that's a bit of my journey that I had to learn, to let go of what's not helping me grow.
And I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. So maybe the very fact that your parents moved got you out of that position and actually woke yourself up to the fact that, hey, I do need to go with what's happening and really speak up for myself and, I guess, be a man.
Well, I look at it now and I'm like, you know what? They did exactly what they were supposed to do. And they made it hard for me on purpose.
I love that. Nice positive way to look at it.
it was going through it. It was going through it. Excuse my French.
But now you look upon it differently.
I'm grateful.
And at the beginning of 2018, so only 2 years ago, after returning from your grandmother's funeral, is the time that you woke up and decided to take action on your life. Why do you think it was specifically at your grandmother's funeral that gave you that wake-up call? Was it more just like, wow, life is short and I've got to do something about it? Yeah,
great question. I think we don't realize the blessing of life until we see a life disappear, especially if it's a family member, especially if it's someone close to us. I think, again, we talk about, unconsciousness. We have this habitual behavior that we get used to, we adapt to, we live through every single day. And there you go. If you're not practicing gratitude, or if you're not practicing mindfulness, or being self-aware of your present state that you're living in every single day, well, then life goes by and you don't even realize that you're alive. You're just constantly on the go. You're constantly doing things. You're constantly just living. And so my awareness was heightened when my father's mother passed away. I didn't have the closest relationship with her because she was living in Poland, but I did have a deep connection with the culture and with the country simply because, again, I still hadn't found my purpose and passion in life. And so I was very connected to that culture because I wanted to feel connected to something because I didn't have myself. And that's where it comes down to as well. My company, MindPower Corp, and my brand, Luke MindPower, is built on the foundation of self-care, self-love, self-compassion, honoring who you are, loving yourself. And it all starts from within, right? The happiness that you seek outside is not there. It's inside. And that's why you have to start from the internal state, which will then reflect your external world. So if you're not happy with your life right now and what you have externally, you have to look inside because you're just a mirror. You're a mirror of what your life is, depending on how you are inside. And I know it's deep stuff, but that's what I had to learn. But watching my dad weep for the first time in my whole life, and he's very, let's say, he doesn't show much emotion. He's not an affectionate kind of guy. I know a lot of people have different kind of love languages. I think his love language is more work and provide for the family. It's not about, come here, Luke, give me a hug, I love you. That's not who my dad is. That's my mum, right? And so to see him upset, only for a brief moment, he just walking out of the church, he started weeping when they were carrying the coffin out. And I was like, whoa, that's deep. But after that, he was fine, So he doesn't express emotion the way that you would think a human would. When he's always very positive, very joyful, and so the connection that was lost there from my grandmother, because I had this deep connection with the culture of Poland, which I don't as much anymore because I realized who I am and that I didn't need that to be happy. Right. I grew up in Sydney around a lot of multiculturalism, multicultural society, a lot of Lebanese, Italian, Greek, different nationalities, Vietnamese. And so you want to fit in. Right. And so I was born in Newcastle. And I'm back there now, too. It's funny. But I was born in Newcastle. I was born in Australia, yet I didn't see myself as an Aussie. I was always trying to be Polish. Because of that society. If you were an Aussie, it was like you were lower. You weren't as good as some of the friends that I had. It was cooler to say, oh, I'm Lebanese, or oh, I'm Greek, or oh, I'm Italian. And so there I was saying, I'm Polish, So there was a bit of a identity crisis in my life where you were trying to be something else because, that's all we knew. That's all I knew. I grew up in that culture. My mum sent me to Polish school. They're speaking Polish at home. So that kind of confused me a little bit for a while, where now I appreciate the culture. It's my heritage. It's where my parents came from, but I'm a true blue. I was born in Australia. I was born here. Actually, I'm a true blue, but I see myself as being universal. I think we're all creatures of Earth. We're all creatures of this planet. And I think it's really divisive sometimes. And so I distance myself from division. And that's why I'm passionate about, speaking with the universal tongue and not promoting separation, because we are a divided society, whether it's religion, whether it's race, and a lot of that causes conflict. And so I'm about love, man.
Me too. Perfect guest for this show then. And I've got to say, what you just said too is another thing that's very relatable, is that especially growing up, we all just want to, fit in and look cool to other people. And it's the same sort of thing with social media. But as you said, it all comes from within, and you being happy for who you are instead of being like, cool, I'm Polish just to fit in and look cool. So you've definitely come a long way. And I want to know, what was your journey like to self-love? What did that actually entail for you?
Self-love is really the key, I believe, in my own humble opinion, is the key to success. Because again, it is a reflection of your own self-worth, of you actually being able to look at yourself in the mirror and truthfully say, man, I forgive you. I forgive you for thinking that you weren't good enough. I forgive you for making that mistake. Owning up to your own bullshit, owning up to your own faults. A lot of the times we live in our ego state, which, is too proud to call up that friend and say, hey, John, you know what, man, I know that we spoke this morning and I think I might have said something that hurt, that was offensive. And I just want to apologize for that. And we don't live there because we're too proud. We're too proud to show up like that because we feel that that's going to show, that's too much femininity, and it's going to show that you're weak, So there was a moment back in 2018 when I did a speaking course, which was through the Mind Valley platform, and it's called Speak and Inspire. And it was along the path of myself wanting to grow confidence in speaking, in my speaking abilities, because for me, presenting myself in front of individuals was always something very difficult that I found to do, and it's amazing to think, why do you doubt yourself? Why were you afraid to introduce yourself to other individuals and just speak and say, hey, I'm Luke. I'm 31 years old. I've got 3 older sisters. I was born in Newcastle. I'm a driver tester, and it's great to be here. Why? And that's how I would feel. Like, I'd be in a meeting when I used to work for the government, and the facilitator would say, just before we start the meeting, if we could just go around the room and just everybody introduce themselves. And I'd freak out.
I think a lot of people do for no reason at all.
Yeah, and so I got to a point where I had this dream of opening a gym in Poland back in 2018. And I got to a point in that journey where I realized that after doing so much research and looking into the project, I realized that if you wanted to do something like that and you want to be the manager and fitness coach or instructor or whatever, well, you've got to delegate, you've got to facilitate, you've got to stand up and deliver, and you've got to speak in front of people. So that was that point where I was like, wow, I have to do that. I'm afraid to speak in front of people. That's one of my biggest fears. So it's like I wanted to take on that leadership role, but I was afraid to actually be that person that has to be in front of people. So it's a bit of imposter syndrome and self-sabotaging behaviors that I've lived through, that I am living through, I was living through. And life is a process of continuing to peel off the layers that are kind of holding you back. And I'm still growing, I'm still learning through that. But at that point, that was where I realized that I needed to take action, and I needed to learn how to deliver and speak. And so during finding that course online, there was a speaking course, and one of the tasks for the day, which had to be completed for the rest of the month, rest of the course, was to stand in front of a mirror and speak to yourself on a daily basis. And so the moment that I actually had to do that was the moment that, I always say this, it was the moment that I reconnected with my spirit, with my inner power, with my inner energy. It's like You know, if you think about your intuition and that gut feeling that you have within yourself, where sometimes something is happening and deep down you know that it's wrong, or you know that you need to do something, but because we're not in tune with who we are and with that connection, we don't listen to it. You know, like you might be in a relationship and something doesn't feel right. And so, but you still don't listen. You still keep staying in that relationship and getting hurt and getting hurt and getting hurt until it's so unbearable that eventually you wake up and you go, I've had enough, right? But if you were to tune into yourself and trust yourself, you would take action immediately and you would say, this doesn't feel right. I'm going to speak. I'm going to honor myself and I'm going to leave that. I'm going to try and fix it. If I can't fix it, I'm out. So that was the connection that I found within myself when I started looking at myself in the mirror and appreciating myself and honoring myself and saying, Luke, you're amazing. I love you. You're incredible. You're more than enough. You're extraordinary. You're phenomenal. You know, you're a beast. And saying, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You're such an amazing uncle. I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm proud that you're starting to show up for yourself and to believe. And then there was the forgiveness part where I would be like, you know, Luke, I forgive you for taking drugs. I forgive you for not feeling like you're good enough. I forgive you for doubting yourself. I forgive you for drinking too much, not loving on yourself. So that was the start where the self-love really came in, when you started to basically not seek love and validation from other people, but start giving it to yourself.
And I highly recommend everyone doing that. I truly am a big believer in mirror talk, and it is so powerful. That is, as you said, very big step to self-love for everyone listening. Yeah,
it really, it's uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable, and you know, people want their lives to change, but they're not willing to change. And I think that's the challenge, you know, because we really get complacent and stagnant and you know, you get into this position where you're comfortable, and comfort is like comfort in some cases is the devil.
Yeah. You got to step outside that comfort zone, as cheesy as that sounds.
Yeah, it's real, man.
And something else I want to bring up with your self-love journey is from November 2019 to February this year, you spent 3 months in a temple in China. Is it Shaolin Temple? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, the Shaolin Temple in China, yeah.
Yeah, learning Kung Fu and living as a warrior monk. How was your experience with that? That just sounds so powerful. And how did you live? You know, take us through your day-to-day life when you were there.
Yeah, the Shaolin Temple was something that not many people understood, especially my mum. You know, the first thing my mum said was like, why would you go to China? It's communist. Like, that was the first reaction, because I mean, if you live in Australia, you know, most of the time we are really influenced by media, and we sometimes judge on what we're really not aware of, you know, and so it's easy for people to have a negative reaction on a place like China. You know, you hear a lot of stories on the news, and a lot of things are bad. Like, but I think in all, I think a lot of places can have negative, you know, things or bad things happening in their countries. You know, but going to China really was stepping out of my comfort zone. You know, it was saying, you know what, I need to be alone. And it's interesting because over that period of about 7 or 8 months during that year was a period of self-discovery. It was a period of self-enlightenment. It was a period where I needed me more than anyone, you know, and I still kind of live that way, because the one thing that I was always afraid of was being alone. One thing I was always afraid of was living in solitude. One thing I was always afraid of was not being in a relationship. You know, and so the best thing that I ever did was to be in a relationship with myself and to spend time with myself, to really discover who I am and what it is that really sets my soul on fire, you know. And so going to China was like a divine calling. Like, I could feel it within myself that there was something bigger in me. There was something pulling me to that place. And so I went. and getting there, I had no idea where this place was. I'm in the taxi, and I was always afraid of going to like countries like that. Even when I went to Colombia, I had the same thing. You don't know what you don't know, and so your mind just makes up these stories. And so I'm in the taxi, said on the paper that it was taking 40 minutes to get to this place. I'm having an idea that it's in the mountains somewhere. The taxi driver's still driving. I'm looking at the clock. It's 40 minutes, and I'm thinking to myself, we're lost. I don't know where we are. And he pulls up and he's like, it's here, like in Chinese. And I'm like, no, this is not it. We're not in the mountains. We're in some suburb. But he was right. And so I walked into the main area, and eventually I found myself there. They gave me an amazing tour. And so my day started. And so I'll just go into a day, what a day looked like. In the temple. And so you wake up at around 6:30, and basically it's kind of like you're back at school, because you had to wear a uniform, right? And if you didn't wear the uniform, you'd have to do something called a mabu, which is you standing up and bending your knees, and you have to stay in that position for 5 minutes. And after about 45 seconds, it starts hurting. So once you do that once, you realize and you go, well, that's a punishment and a half. I'm not going to do that again, but we have to wear a uniform, for example. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, we would have to line up, and the shifus, the masters, would come out. We'd then have to count. So we had to learn how to count in Chinese. So it would start from the shortest person. You'd have to line up according to height. And so it would be the shortest person to the tallest person. So I was kind of always at the end because I'm 6'2", and I would have to, the first like 2 weeks, I couldn't. They're saying the numbers, and I would wait for the person next to me to tell me what number I am so I could say it, because I don't know how to count Chinese. But after about a month, I learned how to count from 1 to 20, which is pretty cool because you learnt a simple thing of repetition. Something that we easily forget. And many aspects of the Kung Fu lifestyle was learning things through repetition, especially if you haven't lived there. And it just showed you that, repetition is the mother of skill. And if you do something over and over and over again, you get really good at it. So, and so you count to 20 or whatever it was. And then from there, we would walk through the Chinese, through the town center to the temple, next to the temple that we were staying in, and we would have breakfast. So, you go and have breakfast. The males eat on one side, the females eat on one side. You'd have turns at handing out all the food, and then you'd go back, and then we would clean the temple. So everybody had like a roster of what we had to clean. You'd be sweeping the floors, cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the toilets. Everybody had their roles. So again, it's kind of like you're in, I don't know, a boarding school or something, but you actually have to take care of the premises as well. So those kind of responsibilities also, at the beginning, it's kind of like, I don't want to sweep, or I don't want to, but I learned to appreciate these small things like cleaning the toilets and having that responsibility, because that's somewhere where you have to go and you have to use it. Same like the kitchen, same like sweeping. It's the place where you live, so you want to take care of it. So those kind of things we had to do. Then we would have to line up again at 9 o'clock or 8:30, and then we would run around the temple about 10 times, warm up. Then we would stretch every single day for about 45 minutes. Once we'd done the stretching, then there's 2 sessions of training, which is 3.5 hours in the morning and 3.5 hours in the afternoon. So 7 hours Monday to Friday of training Kung Fu, different modalities and forms that you would have to learn. So there was a pretty packed week of intense training, and it really shocks your body, especially for the first month, because if you've never trained Kung Fu before, you've never learned martial arts, or especially if you're not flexible, your body is in pain every day, and you're just like, you don't know what's going on. So it was a powerful experience, but most of all, the biggest thing that I took away from it was being happy with the minimal amount of things. You didn't need much to be happy, right? And you watched and observed the monks living there with like little or anything besides food and the other monks around them, and just living that life and meditating and doing what they do with their morning meditation and stuff like that, So it's just a really peaceful place for you to grow in terms of learning martial arts. But it was more than martial arts. Like, martial arts was the thing that came after your mindfulness, after cleaning, after connecting with other people. That's the other biggest aspect of it as well, that I realized that that environment is what success really is, right? When you understand that, then you understand how to get to success. And your environment, you're a product of your environment. And so the people around you make a huge difference on how you actually reach your goals and reach your success. And so the people there had such a major impact on my life because it was a very, very empowering place. We were always supporting each other every single day. And so you feed off positivity. You push someone else comes and pushes you and says, yeah, come on, keep going, you can do it. So again, amazing individuals that I met there and shared that experience with. And again, it was just a place of peace. It was a place of disconnect from the world. There's no news, there's no TV. You couldn't, you're just away. And you had to, like, the food, for example, rice and veggies every day, and you get annoyed. Eventually I'm like, this is crap. I'm sick of this shit. I keep eating rice and veggies and every day, but you had to learn to be grateful. And then your awareness of gratitude and of like the food, for example, the fruit, like, not every day did we have fruit, because we only got fruit when people donated it to the temple. So you didn't have fruit for 3 days, and all of a sudden you saw a big plate of fruit at the back of the kitchen, and you're like, oh my God, there's oranges and apples. And so we'd go and get them and we'd eat them, and we'd be like, oh, this is amazing, wow. But here in Australia, because we have such an abundance of fruits and food, it's like nothing. You just eat it and you're just like, oh, it's a big deal. But it's actually a really big deal. It really heightened your awareness of gratitude and how blessed we really are to live the life that we live. But also I learned that, you are your own best doctor. You realize that if you treat your body with respect and you stretch every day and you move your body, because that's what we're doing every day, movement, which is something that a lot of us don't do. Your body thrives off that energy, of oxygen being inside and out, like breathing, heavy breathing. And a lot of us don't do that. We don't exercise because we're lazy, we're tired. So there were big lessons there as well.
Wow. I really take my hat off to you. What an incredible experience. And I'm a little bit envious. I think I need to go do it now.
It's very highly recommended.
So powerful. Seriously. So Luke, through your own transformation, you're now paying it forward. You have your own coaching business, as well as a YouTube channel and your own podcast where you share interviews and weekly motivation. And I love your episode. The more we do, the more we can do, by the way. One of my faves. And there is a new project that you've only just announced this week, which is MindPower Corp. And in your Facebook post, you did say it's a global personal development company which focuses on delivering breakthrough knowledge that will inspire you and your organization to reach peak levels of success. And you'll have an online platform and weekly coaching content as well. So is this just for businesses, or is it for individuals too? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, great question again. And building something like this in its form of, it being a corporation, hence the name, trying to bring out value on a global platform or global stage is something that it's not an easy thing to do. And when I first brought up the name and actually thought about doing it, I didn't realize what I was doing. It just came, it was inspired by Luke MindPower. It was inspired by the fact that I was addicted to cocaine, and then because I had found something that I was passionate about, that passion and purpose then formed a priority in my own self-development and pursuit of doing something that I really loved. And so that overpowered any substance abuse, anything that was in my way. I was going to run straight through it. And so that's where the Luke MindPower actually made sense, because it was like, wow, mind power, because that's what it takes. It just takes you to overpower those negative thoughts, those that weakness, that self-doubt, that voice in your head that says, just do it, or you don't, it's okay, just drink that drink, or it doesn't matter if you go out and party on the weekend, you'll be right in a couple of days. And so the MindPower Corp came from Luke MindPower, and I just thought, you know what, it correlates with my branding, and I wanted to take it to a level that is unbelievable. I could start with just doing personal coaching and just running my own brand at Luke MindPower, but I saw it as something bigger, because everyone needs to have access to information that is going to help them thrive. And because of the amazing network of individuals that I worked on and connected with over the last couple of years while I was building my brand, I've now been able to form a team of individuals that I work with, and that we've been working on MindPower Corp over the last 6 months to actually bring this out. And so there's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes that not everyone sees. Not many people know what's going on. But that's the biggest thing with I think with success, is that you get praised for what you do in public, for the work that you do in private.
It's like the iceberg analogy, and just see the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much work underneath it.
Absolutely. So not many people really get to see what's going on in the background, and there's so much more to come. But me just bringing it out now with my YouTube channel, MindPower Corp, with it being a coaching channel, as well as, the website, LukeMindPowerCoaching.com, and having an amazing team of business coaches, relationship coaches, and the purpose of me having the branding, the ultimate success coaches, because we supply a vast variety of coaching services. It's not just about loving yourself or emotional intelligence. It's about communication. It's about business coaching. It's about business development. And so, you can only do so much by yourself. And it's true, so bringing out MindPower Corp is a really, it's a dream, and it's here to be available to you as an individual, so that you can really awaken your spirit, activate that greatness that you have within you, because I know that there's so many people out there that are struggling with their happiness, with actually living intentionally and in purpose, live and knowing what is your passion, why are you here, why are you doing what you're doing, and are you here just surviving, or are you really thriving? And I know that it's a dream to say, you want to help everyone be successful. That's not going to happen. But I believe that everyone has a purpose here. And no, not everyone's supposed to be on stage. Not everyone's supposed to be a billionaire, right? But there's a reason why you're here. And if you can have access to tools, strategies, and different forms of processes that will help you unlock that greatness that you have, your life will transform. And so it's not just directed at the personal market as you as an individual, but it's available for corporate entities, so that they can amplify their productivity and their services and their communication in their workspace to then drive more results in their businesses. You know, I really believe that having that right environment and that right energy in the workspace will yield results, you know. So I'm able to do that because, you know, of my work that I've put in over the last few years. I'm excited for it. And there's so much more to come. And it's really just, you know, getting connected, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and just being on the lookout for all of the content and all of the, you know, inspirational information and possibilities that are coming from this company.
This is huge. I am so damn proud of you. You're about to become even busier now, though.
Oh yeah, I know. It's crazy, you know. It really is. But again, it's I'm very grateful for my team and for the people that are working with me. But I'm also grateful for my own journey, as well as my family having my back as well, and friends that support me, you know. So there's a lot more to it than just yourself, but it is important. It is important for you to acknowledge that, but also to acknowledge yourself, you know, because everything big starts small.
And just know that I'm one of those friends here supporting you whenever you need it, buddy.
Appreciate it.
And you do have a new book coming out very, very soon too, called Your Power Place, The Art of Loving Yourself. When can we expect this? And is this all connected to everything else?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's absolutely connected with one of my SelfLove Blueprint 21-day course that I have, which is available. It's actually available now on the MindPowerCoaching.com, and it is going to be available as an ebook first, and then in the coming months it will be released as a hard copy. So it's exciting. To be frank, I did not see myself as being an author. I didn't even know anything about writing a book or the impact that it can have. For many years, I did not like reading. I just never connected with that form of learning. But I see the market, and I see how many people actually love reading. And to be honest with you, I've recently taken it on, and I do read. So I don't know where that came from in my evolution, but all of a sudden I enjoy learning more than ever before, you know. So yeah, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to its release and to people being inspired and empowered by that form of information.
Well, we are glad that you became an author, and it is very good for your brand, as you've probably already noticed.
Absolutely.
Now, before we, end this interview today, it's gone very, very quickly. I have to ask
Doesn't
you...
it? It flies.
Yeah, it does. That's why I was like, oh, geez, you only said 40 minutes. Oh, well. But I've got to end with our famous question that you probably already know is coming. Knowing what you know now, Luke, what would you tell your 14-year-old self? My
14-year-old self, I would walk up to him and I would just say, hey, Luke, let me tell you something, man. I'd say, bro, it is cool and it's so dope to love yourself.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I would tell him, because there was no such thing back then. There was no such I didn't have awareness of that. I was very insecure, very self-conscious, and I'm not going to go into that, but that's what I would tell him, man. I would tell him that loving yourself is the dopest thing that you could do.
And that has helped a lot of people today too, or I hope it has anyway. And if the listeners would like to contact you, find out what you're up to in the future, where should they go? You've obviously got LukeMindPower.com, and you've got LukeMindPowerCoaching.com as well, wasn't it? They can book a complimentary coaching call if they want. Best
place, man, is at Luke MindPower. I'm on all social media platforms, and you can go to MindPower Corp, 3 words, on YouTube, and subscribe to the coaching channel there. And you've also got LukeMindPowerCoaching.com. But yeah, if you jump on all my social media platforms, you'll find me absolutely everywhere at Luke MindPower.
Just Google Luke MindPower, you come up. So there you go.
Yeah, man, you'll find it. You'll find it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Luke. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I always have so much fun.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to spend some time with you, share this space, and answer your amazing questions.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked them. I did a lot of research, so love you. You're welcome on any time. So in the future, you're back in Sydney.
Sure.
Let me know. We'd love to have an interview in person. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely on the cards. This whole virtual space at the moment is, utilizing it while we have it, because obviously we're dealing with this interesting time. But yeah, studio interview is definitely on the cards. Look forward to it.
We're all but going to be so grateful for when we can do that again. Oh my goodness. That human, like, face-to-face interaction, we miss it.
For sure.
Just keep in contact and we'll make it happen in the future. We've got each other's contacts, so easy enough.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lauren.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's interview. If you'd like to check out any of our other interviews, visit our website, raveituptv.com. And also remember, we have our new podcast, also called Rave It Up, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. So it's another way for you to check out our interviews. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.